name's Sarah, and I live in Olympia, Washington.
Yay!
Yeah, Olympia. And my husband and I run a small farm just 10 miles south of the Evergreen State College. And 2 years ago, we heard that our local Grange was not doing so well. And we're like, what's our local Grange? Oh, that's that concrete building that we pass like every day when we go to town. What happens there? So we went to a meeting, and there was a room of about 7 people, mostly over the age of 50 to 70. And so they were like, oh, you know, and what was really amazing is that, you know, I've heard this trend, right? The average age of United States farmers is 57 and growing, right? And we see that in the Grange membership, right? It stopped at, and I'm not saying this is every Grange, but there's a trend. Certainly in our little Grange, that it was these folks that have been there for so long, but most of them actually have lost their tie to agriculture. They just came because their parents always came, and their parents were farmers. So we saw this opportunity to get to know the agricultural history of our own area, which is this little Delhi Valley that we live in. So that was really cool, connecting with like, oh, you're the person that owns that beautiful barn, and so on and so forth. And they said to us, like, well, you're a real farmer, so what do farmers want? Because the Grange is here to represent you at the state level, because we've got people in policy that want to know what you need. And so that's kind of been that was sort of exciting to get plugged in. A few things that we've done for the 2 years now that we've been members is we started holding these things called small farmer mixers. Has anyone here been to a small farmer mixer before? Ooh. So you know how fun they are. So a small farmer mixer, we heard about this because the Greenhorns, who knows the Greenhorns? Oh, okay, yeah. So the Greenhorns, I've never actually gone to one of their events, but I've heard about them, and I think it's really exciting. They threw an event on Vashon Island 3 years ago, time flying. And it sounded really fun. They had a potluck and a pig roast, and I thought, well, we should do that for our little area. There's so many farmers, and we've got Evergreen, and you know, students would love this. So we just threw it out there. We're like, hey, let's try this mixer, and the folks in the Grange were like, mixer, what's that? Like, it'll be fun. So we got some food. We held a potluck. We advertised for people to bring seeds, and we just said any, you know, small farmers or small farmer enthusiasts, anyone's welcome. And we had over 150 people show up at this Grange, and only had an attendance of about 8. You know, so they were like, whoa! And it was so much fun. And you know, the amazing thing that happened when I think about all these networks, right, of small farmers, like the Greenhorns, and there's Facebook, and I'm also part of the Washington Young Farmers Coalition. We've got this great listserv. But the power of having everybody physically in one place, it was amazing. The conversations that happened, the synergy that happened. We just had an open forum after the potluck for people to get up on stage and say what they wanted to say to their community of farmers. And we got such cool ideas, you know, like, oh, let's have tool sharing, and let's have a grain buying co-op. And now, a year later, we have a grain buying co-op. So it's pretty cool, and I just think, you know, the Grange had a really relevant place a long time ago when we were fighting tariffs for bank and transportation and railroads and so on and so forth. But now, young farmers, we face, and not even young farmers, present-day farmers that care about agroecological principles, we face very different issues, and we have a very different battle, and we've got this infrastructure here to meet and to collectively figure out what our needs are and to communicate them and to celebrate. So let's use it. Yay, Grange!
So this Grange here, was on the verge of closing itself. It had about, I don't know, 7 or fewer people who were showing up here once a month, and they were, none of them were in their 60s. Let's put it that way. They were older than us. And so anyway, John Evelyn became a member of the Grange, and he could see what was happening real easy. And he came out one day and he said, hey, we got to save the Grange. And he just came down to the farm and he says, we gotta save the Grange, and we gotta do it this month, because this is the last month. Because what happens is, if enough people are not Grange members, then the state Grange considers, you know, the Grange Hall to be inactive. They put a padlock on the door, and they keep the door locked for 7 years, and then they can sell the building. And the proceeds go back to the state or the National Grange, and this spot would be gone. And so, basically, John came down and said, we gotta go to the Grange meeting. And so, about 30 of us showed up at the Grange meeting, the same thing Sarah was talking about. And everybody, the older set looks up at all these young people coming in, and by the time we left, my right-hand man was the president. John was the overseer. I think I was, God, I don't know, I was something.
Parliamentarian or something.
I was something having to do with intellectual development or something like that. But anyway, we all pitched in our $30 and we saved the Grange. Boom. And so one of the first things that we did was we renovated the place. The floor here, this nice floor, was completely refinished by the brother of one of the people who came to save the Grange. And there has been a lot of mixing going on in this building since that happened. In fact, the Greenhorns had a mixer in this building right after we saved it. So, and there's been quite a bit of beer flowing in this building. This was one of our initial struggles to bring the Grange into the 21st century. We had to allow the drinking of beer in this building. And so the Oregon State Grange recently, under pressure from Granges like this, finally allowed the serving of alcohol in Granges, although not at meetings. So anyway, basically it just makes the place, you know, more lively, and this place is rented out for weddings and parties and all sorts of family gatherings very frequently. So this building is in use now, and it was just about lost. So probably somewhere near you is a Grange Hall sitting off on the side of the road that you drive by every day, and you haven't thought a thing about it, but you should check it out. Just check it out. Join.